the Overman Warrior Podcast.
Okay, hi, it's Rich Hoffman here. The groundbreaking for the new bridge from Cincinnati to Kentucky goes along the Bent Sprinch Bridge. It's been a project that's long in the making, needed to happen for a long time, projected to be about $4.4 billion in cost, which I don't think is that much when you look at other projects and things that are out there, infrastructure projects. And the big question that comes up all the time is, why do these bridges cost so much, and why does it take so long to make them? And it really is silly. I remember back in the 90s when I was very politically active downtown Cincinnati. I was at City Hall every day. I went through several mayors and a lot of city council members for various projects. And they were wanting to build bridges all the time, that crossed over into Kentucky. And I dealt a lot with the Kentucky development folks, the commercial development people. Before Newport on Levee was a thing, I was down in that region talking to all those people all the time. So I know a little bit about the politics between the two sides and development and what Cincinnati means to the area and how real estate development in northern Kentucky was a natural carryover, but really it's irresponsible to even think that there would be so many delays on this project. Now, under they had a groundbreaking on May 8th, which is what I'm talking about today, and Mitch McConnell came down. Joe Biden was talked about. Rob Portman was talked about. This is when he was senator. Andy Beshear was there as governor of Kentucky, and of course DeWine was there as governor of Ohio. And I know a lot of those characters personally, so I can say with some authority that it was completely stupid that it took this long to start these bridges, to start this bridge groundbreaking. And supposedly a lot of credit goes to the Biden administration for creating an infrastructure plan to allow this kind of thing to happen. And that's why Mitch McConnell was there to talk about how it's one thing he agreed with Biden on. And you know what? When you're a deal maker like that, you're at a high level of political office like McConnell was, and you couldn't get that bridge done any sooner than that, yeah, that's sad and pathetic. There's absolutely zero reason for any of that. Should have never taken this long to build, to even have a groundbreaking on that bridge. That bridge has been needed for the last 20 years, including when I referred to my stint down at the Cincinnati City Hall and the Northern Kentucky Commerce Development people. There's no reason at all why it should have taken as long as it did, but it did. It's a huge cost, and it should never have taken that much to go as far as it did. Way behind schedule on something like that. And the bridge is going to open in 2031, and it will be nice. It is a high traffic bridge. There's a lot of use on it. I use it a lot throughout the year. I can tell you that. Now, this is a statement coming from just recently spending a lot of time in Washington, D.C., which I did. And all my toll numbers came in for all my use of the roads and across Pennsylvania and Virginia going into Washington, D.C. Was it worth the tolls? And I would say yes. It was some of the roads I used, especially 66 going straight into Constitutional Avenue from where I was out in Fairfax, very much worth it. To avoid the tolls, I spent my previous trips to Washington, D.C. last year, I used George Washington Boulevard to get into town many times, most of the time. It goes down around where the CIA building is, and goes along the Potomac River. And I think it's one of the best ways to get into Washington, D.C., especially if you're out there in Fairfax County. But I got tired of driving around the traffic so much. So towards the end of our last trip, we used the toll roads. We used 66 specifically, which really essentially dumps out on Constitutional Avenue. So if you're wanting to get into that part of the mall and where the White House is, and those kinds of places, 66 was a great road to take, and there's a toll road. And I think our total tolls for it were like $18 for the whole time we were there. Not really worth avoiding all the roads, the toll roads, to get where you wanted to go. Definitely worth paying to go. But should you be paying? Should those roads have tolls on them? When you consider the gas taxes, what they are, as high as they are, should we pay tolls on anything? And one of the big statements on this particular bridge they're building is that they managed to get it done without toll roads, without putting a toll on it. There's a bridge that goes over from Louisville into southern Indiana right now. That's a toll road, and I think it's reprehensible. I've done a lot of articles on it. I think it's absolutely preposterous that you'd have a toll on it. There's another great bridge in Charleston that goes over into the old town from where the communities, some of the suburbs are. Very nice bridge that goes over the waterway there, gets into the historic district of Charleston, South Carolina. It's a really good bridge, beautiful bridge, the way you expect bridges to look. There's the bridge up by Mackinac, that takes you over into the Upper Peninsula in Michigan. That's really magnificent. A bridge like that should not have any tolls on it. That one doesn't. But you expect to just keep going, build the bridge, build the highway, build all the things you need, and don't burden people with the excess cost and stopping for tolls or having to buy a ticket for tolls. One thing that comes on our bill for the toll roads across Virginia, going into Washington, D.C., was you violated our policies because you just kept driving through the toll booth. Well, I can tell you, when we were driving along, there was nowhere to stop and pay. If you're looking for, hey, where can I pay my toll to get across this part of the road, there was nobody there. So there's no way to violate it. Their language is completely wrong. If we wanted to pay the toll, we couldn't have. You have to go somewhere online and buy a little badge and put the badge in your dashboard, or get your license plate identified with it so that their AI system could identify who you are. It's not worth the trouble to even do that. It costs me more than $18 for the time it would take to get online and do all that stuff. So my time is worth more than the $18 an hour. And it's certainly worth, if you're told you're going to pay for the highway that way, my time is worth a lot more than the $18 just sit in traffic and look at bumper-to-bumper traffic and taillights in front of me. That's not worth it either. So the traffic problems are a constant ongoing issue. They do have a very nice transit system, a train that takes you into downtown from out in Fairfax. And we would have used it if we had time. We didn't have time because simply we had too many places to get to at very early hours. Did not have time to wait in lines anywhere. So we drove in using the roads. And that's the same case with this Northern Kentucky Bridge. I have people all the time that come see me. They have to get back to the airport. They run right up. I had a guy just this last week, had to get to the airport in about 40 minutes. And then by the time you deal with all the TSA nonsense, you add an additional hour onto that. If you have a 5 o'clock flight, you pretty much have to leave seeing me at 2:30 to get there. And this guy was still messing around 3:30. And I'm like, dude, you need to get moving. You're going to be late. And he's like, I'll get there just fine. He's a speedster. He likes to drive fast. So his plan was to get around the 275 loop, go west over to Lawrenceburg and come across that way and get to the airport in plenty of time, thinking he was going to get there in about a half hour to 45 minutes. It takes about 45 minutes even going fast, unless you do run into some traffic coming off 74. So any way you want to get to, if you're in southern Ohio, you need to get to the airport to catch a flight. It's tough. That's why the Joby system can't come fast enough. They really need it now, but this bridge is needed for everybody else, and it's really needed just to get from when your major airport is in northern Kentucky, and most of the people coming to see something in that part of the world, especially southern Ohio, the Cincinnati area, within the 275 loop, you really need this bridge. This bridge was needed for a long time. And the politicians couldn't get it done faster than they did. And now they're happy. They're getting it done. It's not going to be built to 2031. Ridiculously long time period. They used to build bridges within a year. The Empire State Building was built within a year. There's huge amounts of construction projects that are done quickly, and this one should be done fast. It's needed now, and there's too much regulatory burden, and the finance pinheads drug their feet too long, trying to make a good deal for themselves off the back of government, and the politicians just weren't clever enough to get it done faster than they did. And then they're out there beating on their chest about how great they are. Yeah, Joe Biden got this done. Mitch McConnell's all about it, and Andy Brashear, the lockdown guy, the Amy Acton protege from the South, is there talking about how great it is. We're finally building this bridge after a decade or more of trying to get it done. When you had all those people there wanting to take credit for it, and it took them way too long to get there. And they're proud of themselves, and they shouldn't be. It's a ridiculously long period of time. It's too expensive, and their build time needs to be compressed by at least half. It shouldn't take that long. They've built some really magnificent bridges around the country. I've seen a lot of them. This one's going to be a great one, but it's taking too long to get there, and it's too expensive. And toll roads shouldn't be expected when you have gas taxes as high as they are. It shouldn't be a thing. You'll raise the revenue quickly. It's the government that spends too much revenue that is the problem. They have a lot of addictions to taxes, including DeWine coming down and basically saying all this pressure to get rid of property taxes or to have reprievals. I know a couple of people in the State House, really good people. Thomas Hall comes to mind, who are trying to get relief on gas tax. And of course, DeWine's like, but that's a problem because then it's going to cut our revenue down. No, you need to cut down the consumption of government on that money that's generated. It should have gone to projects like this bridge a long time ago and not waste on a lot of the projects that government has spent it on. Ridiculously high prices. And you're addicted to the high taxation, which is a huge problem. And there should be relief on gas taxes. You shouldn't have tolls. There shouldn't be a lot of the excess property taxes that are going on right now. It's way too high. Government's addicted to way too much spending, and so much so that they spend on all the things they didn't need to, and didn't get to things like this bridge project from northern Kentucky to Cincinnati as part of critical infrastructure for the nation. And Joe Biden certainly didn't get credit for it. All he did was put his name behind trying to be more like FDR and throw a bunch of public projects out there to keep people employed so they could jack up artificial numbers and look like they're doing a better job than they were really doing. That's the only credit he gets for something like this. But McConnell was all in on it, couldn't get it done. Bashir, all in on it, couldn't get it done. DeWine, all in on it, couldn't get it done till too late in their administrations. Took way too long to get there. And they finally did. And it's a lot too little, too late, and it's too expensive, and it's way over budget on timing. So, I'm glad it's finally getting built, but it could have been built a lot sooner for a lot less, and these pinheaded politicians did a bad job of negotiating the whole thing and getting it done too late for too high a price. Just like government always does. Everything's too late, everything costs too much, and it's always too many years out, because they put too much Parkinson's effect into their schedules. Because that's the way government is. Not very good at anything. And too expensive at everything they do. And always too late. Anyway, Rich Hoffman here. Share, subscribe, make tomorrow a better day. If you ever read my book, The Gunfighter's Guide to Business, I think you will love it. Anyway, have a good day. See you later.
In the age of disclosure, you must understand the politics of heaven. Coming soon.
Coming soon, the politics of heaven in 2027. A treasure hunt through heaven and all human history.